Are Gen Z really voting left, or is Reddit just a left-leaning bubble? A mix of both. On the one hand, Reddit is very much a left-leaning social media, so you will be more likely to hear about left successes. But there is also a very much demographic shift towards the left, at least in America. Everywhere else it can get complicated. Gen Z is leaning left, and Reddit is also a left-leaning bubble. Most of the younger generation skews left. The right-wing ideology isn't very welcoming to young people and actively opposes them with certain issues. Conservatism in general tends to lag far behind modern issues, especially in the social realm. It's both. While Reddit is a left-leaning bubble, considering the right bloc's student loan forgiveness, reforms that make college affordable, and wants to restrict those under 25 from voting, I'm not sure why Gen Z would not lean left. They are generally voting left but aren't voting in enough numbers, I think. Yet. It's really hard to be conservative when you have nothing to conserve. Reddit is one of the most left-leaning bubbles I've ever seen, honestly. But yes, Gen Zers in general are left-leaning anyway. A bit of both. On the whole, Gen Z votes to the left. But Reddit is also a left-leaning bubble. I think in the US at least. Gen Z isn't necessarily left. But the GOP is horrible at appealing to young people. I mean, we've had GOP candidates talk about raising the voting age to 25 because they're so bad at it. Gen Z will probably vote left because of everything the right is trying to take away from them. Yeah, a generation going through intruder drills and stop the bleed drills. Want gun regulations. Children are being taught the facts of climate change. The scientific facts, not opinions. Young people want to see us address climate change. Their futures are in the balance. So yeah. The younger generation isn't stupid and most lean towards the left. Gen Z voted left in 2020 by at least 20 percentage points. And they vote in higher numbers. And the boomers and older now make up under half the voters. Both. GOP have lost the popular vote since They only get elected because the Electoral College is outdated and wrong. Depends on what country. In my country, young people are voting right because the left failed us completely with immigration policies, to the point where we are the bombing and gang crime capital of Europe. Nothing about Reddit reflects the real world or reality whatsoever. Why would people that have the longest time left on this planet vote for the party that supports climate change, i.e. the right? The right wing doesn't seem to want to be inclusive with all of their rhetoric. They have also gone on the offensive against popular people like Beyoncé and Taylor Swift. Which is kind of stupid even for identity politics. Of course, in order for the right wing to keep their old voter base happy, it means pissing off the younger generations. Not exactly a smart strategy. I honestly can't see what the right wing has to offer the younger generations. If Gen Z did actually participate in voting, Republicans would never win an election again. Then perhaps they could stop allowing gun manufacturers to profit from mass murder in schools. Well, the Republicans are not looking to stop Gen Z from voting because they are getting all those votes. Why do you think that they want to raise the age limit and remove ballot boxes away and off college campuses? Gen Z hardly vote, so the question is whether they'll vote at all. Most of the United States leans left when you boil it down to individual issues. When you start attaching politicians to those issues, where people start to drift in the opposite direction. It's pretty obvious why. Republicans are entirely engulfed in culture wars. Drag queens? Bad transgender bathrooms? Bad pronouns? Bad abortion? Banned even when it's not a culture issue. They still like to kick young people in the teeth. Student loan forgiveness? Cancelled voting age? Raise it to 21 minimum wage? Keep it the same or even abolish it entirely. I honestly don't see any effort by Republicans to attract young voters. Love how boomers are retiring at a rate of 10,000 per day and suddenly realize they can't afford life with Social Security and savings. Suddenly they're very pro-socialism. Trump got less than a third of the vote among those under 30. Boomers destroyed most public institutions and now they want to salt the earth behind them. Is Reddit a left-leaning bubble? Have you spent any time here? I guess if you're going to compare it to Twitter, then maybe. Aren't Zoomers way more active on TikTok? I feel like this place is dominated by people who are 25-35. Reddit is a left-leaning bubble like you wouldn't believe. Reddit is a giant left-leaning bubble. In here to point out that Reddit isn't left-leaning. There are plenty of far-right subs. And even the left-leaning ones are usually only advocating for things considered middle of the road to most of the developed world. Reddit doesn't lean anywhere. Subreddits do. But Reddit is as unified as 4chan. Reddit doesn't mean left. It means liberal. Reddit is a huge left bubble. A giant echo chamber. News etc. posted on here are also almost always very pro-left. You can't get objective information from here. I would definitely vote left if I was Gen Z, and some Reddit groups are super far right. Gen Z and millennials are voting left so hard that the expected trend of voting more conservatively as they age as a whole isn't happening. If they want any chance of a future they are. But not everybody takes the long view. Oh, this question again. Hopefully. Yes. Yes. Younger generations typically vote more progressive, so yeah, they probably really are voting more left. Reddit is well known to be left-leaning, but I think so is Gen Z. Well, voter turnout is usually low among young adults. 2022 had the second highest youth voter turnout in the midterm elections at 27. Young adults typically are left-leaning, but it's more complex. Yes. I don't know if Reddit is all that left-leaning. Americans are, though. Your average American is a left-leaning moderate. There's a reason left-leaning ideology is called progressivism. People don't get more conservative as they get older. The US gets more progressive and some people don't adapt accordingly. The population is mostly voting left. The Republican Party hasn't won a popular vote since 2004. The nation is just gerrymandered so the votes of some people matter more. And the votes of other people matter less. I googled it and yeah, Gen Z does vote left more. Why not look at some online data? Depends on the area. I'm my hometown. I find all the Gen Z kids to be super conservative like the Gen X parents that raised them. Most millennials I knew leaned left growing up. For what it's worth, Janet Protasevich won the Supreme Court election in April 2023 in WI by an astonishing 11 points. In a state where elections are often decided by less than a point. More to the point, youth turnout of the U of W-Madison increased 240 since the last spring general election in 2019. Youth turnout at the U of W-Eau Claire increased 232. Almost 90 of those young people voted for Janet. I believe the 2020 election was the first time in a long time ever that young left votes balanced out against old right votes. So yes, the US is slowly catching up to the rest of the modern world. My best guess with the Gen Zers that lean right don't actually care about anything. So why would they vote?